Hi everybody, I'm Melissa from Cricut, and I am so excited. We have an amazing giveaway for you guys today, and I'm going to show you 2 ways to create the ultimate curb appeal for your house using the Cricut machine and these techniques that really help you get permanent results for your DIY projects. So before we get started, I always love to see where everyone is watching from. So leave a comment and tell us where in the world you are and where you're tuning in. We would love to see where you guys all are. Maybe we can see who's the furthest away too. So for that giveaway, keep an eye out in the comments. We want to hear what you have going on DIY project-wise, and we are going to be giving away a Cricut machine. This is the Cricut Explore Air 2, which is the ultimate fast, speedy, smart cutting machine to make your projects. And you're also going to get, so one lucky winner will get $200 in addition to the machine to spend on Cricut.com. So you can get all these beautiful supplies. So the first project we're going to make today is these beautiful lanterns for your porch. So if you see on the front of this lantern, we actually have a monogram cut out of the adhesive foil, which is one of my personal favorite materials. I love metallics. I love to mix all the different metallics together. Leave a comment and tell me what your favorite metallic is. Is it rose gold, copper, silver, yellow gold? There's so many to choose from. So we've gone ahead and connected this iPad via Bluetooth to our Cricut machine here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take the green Cricut mat, which is the standard grip mat. I'm going to remove that protective film. Definitely want to save this for later so that my mat doesn't get covered in dust or anything like that. So now that I have my mat, I'm going to just put that right here. The material we're going to be using is this beautiful rose gold adhesive foil. So it comes in a roll, and there's my iron beeping at me. We'll get to you in a minute, bud. All right, so your Cricut materials, you can find them at the craft store, or you can purchase them online. They come with a paper piece that actually has all your instructions printed inside of it. So if you are not as lucky as me and you haven't had a chance to make 1,001 Cricut projects, shout out if you have, then you're going to want to save this piece because it has the material instructions printed inside of it for you. So this is our adhesive foil. You're going to come in and see the beautiful finish on this. It's so, so gorgeous. And it comes with a piece of tape holding it together. So I'm just going to carefully remove that tape. There we go. Now, I want to hear from any of you guys out there who've ever done a vinyl project before with any type of vinyl. This adhesive foil is just like a vinyl, but it comes in this specialty finish with the beautiful metallics. So we're going to unroll this. And I actually like to wait to trim my material until after the machine cuts my project. That way I know exactly where to trim it so that I don't lose any of the excess. I like to be thrifty with my materials. So I'm going to unroll this. I'm going to remove this stuff from under my surface. And what I want to do is I want to get this stuck to the mat as straight as possible. Fun fact though, if you look at the mat, see it has these grid lines? The mat actually has 1/4 of an inch all the way around the sides where the machine won't cut. So if you don't put your material on exactly superhuman, robotic, perfect straight, don't worry, the machine actually gives you a little bit of an allowance for that. So that's good. All right, so I asked those of you who've done vinyl projects before to tell me what's your favorite kind of vinyl. But those of you that have never done a vinyl project before, I want you to leave a comment for me and tell me what vinyl project would you want to make? What have you been seeing on Pinterest or dreaming up that you think would be really fun that would add to the curb appeal of your house, or maybe even a gift item that you want to give someone you care about? All right, so while you guys are leaving those comments, I'm going to take my project here. You see it's in Cricut Design Space, the app, and I'm going to just click Make It in the corner, and that'll send the data over to my machine. So it gives me this map preview screen. I'm going to check it out. I'm actually going to move this away from the edge just a little bit. I have kind of a scuff up here and I don't want to get that on my design. So you can see you can click and you can move it around wherever you want. So when it's exactly how you'd like it to be, I'm going to hit continue. There we go. And that's going to send the data over here. So a little bit about the Cricut machine. It's a powerhouse, but it's also really simple. We've made it so that anyone can use this. That's the point, is if you just have that little seed, that little sprout of creativity, and you want to learn how to express it, this is a tool to help you do exactly that. So the blade is where the magic happens. This is the blade of the Cricut machine. You see it pushes out right there. So I always like to double check my blade and make sure it's clean before I make a new project. I'm gonna pop that in, close the clamp, and that's it. So you'll notice that this machine has a very simple dial to choose your material. So I don't need to worry about the depth or the pressure or any of those settings. They're actually pre-programmed in. So all I need to do is turn this dial and pick what I'm cutting. You'll notice it goes from lightest to heavy. So you can cut anything from paper, vinyl, iron-on, cardstock, heavy cardstock, all the way around. And then we even have a custom setting that has over 100 other materials programmed in. So when I turn that dial to custom, my app is actually going to create a drop-down menu. Let me get that to pull up for us. And it's going to allow me to select from all those materials. So as I scroll through, there's all kinds of things like glitter cardstock and leather and chipboard and just really amazing stuff you can do. And there's all kinds of tutorials online for those. So we can select the adhesive foil option, or since this dial goes from light to heavy, I'm actually just going to go to Vinyl Plus. This is one setting thicker or heavier than vinyl because it has this metallic finish. So all I need to do is take this mat, and you'll have to excuse me, I'm doing this upside down for you guys. You want to hold it with one hand up against these foam or these rubber rollers, and we're going to go ahead and hit that arrow key to load the mat into the machine. Now, as it's cutting, it's going to be moving back behind, so you need to make sure that this space is clear so you don't knock stuff off your table. It's happened to me before. All right, so that's all loaded. You want to check from top to bottom here and make sure that it is all set. And we're going to get that cutting in just a moment here. So the next project that we're going to be doing is actually this planter. I want to hear some of the shout outs of where people are watching from. What's your hometown? What kind of style would you want to put on a planter or something for your porch? Is it going to be kind of a Southwest feel like we have here? Maybe we have some people watching from New Mexico or Arizona. Or are you more, I don't know, maybe in Alaska? Do you want to do pine trees? What are some of the ideas we have out there? Do we have any questions about the projects and things too? Awesome. Alrighty, so the material that we're going to be using on that planter, this is actually one of our tips that we want to cover today. That is going to be using our iron-on material, which is made for fabric, but you can also use it on different substrates. So today we're going to be using it on wood, and that's actually going to really create a permanent lasting result, even more than vinyl would. So that's really a cool technique that we're going to be showing you. Okay, let me just get this. We're going to reload this in. And then we've also actually used some kind of Food Network style magic and pre-cut a piece. So the machine will cut out your design, and when it's finished, it's going to look like this. You can see those cut lines on the material, and we're going to use the Cricut weeding tool. Think of this like weeding a garden. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to remove the weeds, and we want to leave all of our flowers. We want to leave those pretty pieces in our design. So I like to kind of bend it to get it started, and then you can use this tool to help lift it up as well. And because these are just weeds, we're going to kind of toss them in that trash can. Those aren't the important pieces of our project, so it doesn't matter if you tear them up a little bit. Don't worry, don't be shy. Alrighty. Ooh, here's another fun comment challenge. So since our project is a monogram today, leave a comment and tell us what your monogram would be. Is there anybody out there who knows the monogram etiquette of what's supposed to go first, middle, and last? Is it your first name first? Or is there a different trick to it? I know that there's different styles in different parts of the country. One of my favorite types of projects to do with the Cricut, because it's so personal, is to create gift items for friends and family members, or even like a new baby. It's really neat because you can make it actually personal to their name and their style, which is just, you know, a better touch than if you're getting it in the store. So my initials are MLA, Melissa Lee Allen. So what would my monogram be? Can any of you guys guess? Or just really quick on the Google? That's my favorite technique. Perfect. All right, so once you have removed all of your scraps, your iron will probably start beeping at you again. We're going to toss those, and we're going to use another of my favorite materials. This is the Cricut transfer tape. So we are going to take this trimmer, and we're going to cut a piece of transfer tape off that's large enough to cover this design. So you can use that grid line to kind of measure it up. We're going to cut to about here, lift that up, and it just slides underneath, and this will make sure that you get a perfectly straight line, which is nice for the project that you're making right now, but it also sets you up in the perfect position for your next project. So this extra piece of material is all straight and ready to go. So we're going to set that over there, and then I'm going to use my Cricut scissors to cut it this direction. So we just need about this much. Have any of you guys ever used transfer tape before? I have kind of a funny story. So I have the great pleasure of doing a lot of DIY projects these days, but when I first started at Cricut, which was a little over 2 years ago, I was kind of a rookie, if you believe it. Actually, I was totally a rookie. As a matter of fact, my favorite projects being vinyl and iron-on projects. I started doing a lot of those. I had spent a lot of time learning silk screening, like the traditional, you use light to expose your screen, and if you're me, you ruin a bunch of screens before you ever get one how you want it. So I'd been doing a lot of silk screening, which was why I was so excited to learn about iron-on. And then one of my coworkers, about 6 months into working at Cricut, which is embarrassing how long this took, they saw me doing a project that had words, and I was using these tweezers and a ruler to place the letters one at a time on my project. And they said, haven't you ever heard of transfer tape? Because what transfer tape does is it makes all the pieces of your design hold together in place so that when you put them on, they're perfectly straight and they're perfectly spaced out, which was totally revolutionary to me when I was a rookie crafter. And if any of you guys are wanting to try vinyl for the first time, definitely use this transfer tape. I love the Cricut transfer tape. It has these beautiful grid lines printed on it, and it's totally see-through so that you can see exactly where you're putting it. So now we have removed that backing paper, and you can see we have our design ready to stick onto our lantern. So I'm going to take this luminary. Let's get all these tools out of the way. And I like to make sure that it's laying down flat and stable. So I am kind of a wing it type of person. I don't usually measure things out. I like to eyeball it to get them centered. But I want you guys to give me a thumbs up if you're an eyeball it person, and let's get a heart if you're a measure it to make sure it's centered type of person. I feel like that kind of divides the two types of crafters there are in the world. So I'm just eyeballing it. I actually do have the help of this little latch right here to kind of show me where the middle of the glass is. And when I'm applying this vinyl decal, I want to make sure I don't get any air bubbles. So my favorite technique to make sure that that does not happen is I actually kind of allow it to sag in the middle, and I apply it from the middle with kind of a rolling motion out towards the sides to make sure that those air bubbles get squished out. So I'm going to smooth this all down, and then we have our handy dandy Cricut scraper tool that we can also use to push bubbles out of the way. There we go, and we're going to tuck this one right there. Perfect. See, I've got a little bubble right here, so I'm going to use this scraper tool to pull that bubble out to the edge of the design so that it's not there when I'm finished. I like to get as many bubbles out as I can while I still have the transfer tape, especially with this metallic foil, this adhesive foil. That way I don't scratch it. You can still smooth it out after you remove your transfer tape, and some people like to hit it with a blow dryer, a little bit of heat to kind of soften up that adhesive so they can get the bubbles out. But I really want to make sure that I don't scratch it up. So I'm going to get everything out that I can before I take the transfer tape off. So now we're going to roll back this transfer tape, and I like to use kind of like a wiggling motion to make sure that it stays stuck down as I remove the tape. I don't know if any of you guys out there have ever looked up all the different methods there are. There's even one where you use like water and soap. It's called the wet application method for vinyl. That's kind of a fun technique, but I just like to do it this way. It's simple and I don't make a big mess. So there you go. This is our first technique, our first project for how to create some gorgeous curb appeal for your home. It's a nice personalized piece. You could also put this on your mantle, but we're gonna put this on a porch today. So there's our first project. Who wants to see the planters next? And don't forget too, you gotta keep leaving those comments to enter the contest, because we have a Cricut machine, which is what we used to make these projects, plus $200, your choice of supplies from Cricut.com. So that's a killer giveaway. Okay, so our next project is going to be this wooden planter box. So, like I said before, we're going to be using the iron-on material. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the different materials that are available, some of the materials that our winner will get to choose from, but the materials that anyone can find at your local craft store or online. So we have the adhesive foil that we just used. We have a variety of different types of vinyl too. So we have our standard vinyl, which is made to go like on a wall, for example, and you can take it off without ruining your paint. So that's a great material for your indoor home decor projects. Then we also have what's called the Cricut Premium Outdoor Vinyl. So if we have some extra time, I'm going to talk a little bit about a project that I made for the outside of my house using this and why that was really special. But this is your really high grade adhesive permanent vinyl that will last and last and last and last. So that's a really good one to keep in mind, especially outdoors. So the thing that is unique about what we're doing today is this iron-on. So our standard iron-on is called iron-on light. The reason it's called iron-on light is because it's made to be a really nice thin material, so it's not big and bulky on your t-shirt or your project or anything like that. But that doesn't mean it's light on stick. It's totally permanent. It's meant that you can wash it in the washing machine. You want to be careful with it, but honestly, you can even put it in the dryer. So typically, that material is used for fabric. So you'll make a t-shirt or a baseball cap or decorate a tote bag, things like that. But the reason that we're going to use it with wood today is because wood is a notoriously tricky material. If you're applying vinyl to it, because wood is so fibrous and the grains of the wood can be loose, sometimes that vinyl will peel up, especially over the seasons. It's summertime and things will expand with the heat, and then in winter they'll contract. There's all kinds of different things going on, as well as the elements and the water and things like that. So the way that iron-on works is it's not sticky to the touch. It only becomes sticky when you heat it up. So when you activate that adhesive, it is actually melting into the fibers of your fabric. And then when the heat goes away, it has saturated those fibers and it holds on permanently. Even if it gets heated up again when you're washing it or things like that, it has melted into the fibers. So this iron-on is actually going to melt into the fibers of this wood to make sure that it's a really nice permanent project that we can use outside on our porch. So we decorated it with a design on the front, and then on the back side of our planter, we actually put our address numbers. So that's the perfect thing to make sure that your pizza or your deliveries or your Amazon packages, if you have an online shopping addiction like maybe me, they always get to you and they get to the right house. So we have gone ahead and cut this out on the Cricut machine. Something that's unique about the iron-on material is you see this glossy side. That's actually a built-in clear sheet. So you do not need to use this transfer tape, which, by the way, this is reusable. This is the transfer tape I used for that lantern. So I'm going to save it over here and apply it back onto that backer sheet, and I can use it for another project later. The iron-on, though, it comes with its own sheet. So what that means is you actually need to cut it face down. So see how these numbers are backwards? When we turn that dial on the machine to iron-on, it actually gives us a reminder and it says, hey, you're cutting iron-on. Did you remember to mirror your design? That's what it's called when you cut the layers backwards. The reason why is we want to cut through this iron-on on the material itself. It's actually glue side up, but we don't want to cut through this clear paper because that's what we use to put it onto our project. So now that this is all cut out, I'm going to go ahead and do that same technique of weeding. So I'm going to use this weeder tool to get me started. I'm going to rip away from my design, and I love weeding iron-on, you guys. With vinyl, you have to be careful because it's sticky. You don't want it to stick to itself and ruin your design. But iron-on, you can just tear away at it And sometimes it'll even come off in like one big sheet, which is really weirdly satisfying. Give me a heart if you agree, guys. Are you a peeler type of person? It's like when you have old paint on a wooden porch or a chair, you just kind of want to get it off and you pick at it. And then I like to use this tool, see here where it started to stretch. Since I like it when it comes off in one sheet, I'll use that to pull up any pieces that go the opposite direction. So there we go. Give me a thumbs up if any of you guys out there have never tried iron-on, but you want to try it. You want to make a project like this. And give me a heart if you've tried iron-on before. In fact, better yet, comment and tell us what you guys have made. All right, so we're gonna toss those scraps. Now we're gonna use this tool to get into those little spaces and remove the middle of the letters. See how easy that comes up, you guys? This is why this is my favorite material. Also because I love custom t-shirts, but that's a different video for a different day, right? Here we go. Also, for anyone who wasn't watching at the very beginning, if you're just tuning in, leave a comment and tell us where in the world you're watching from. It's always fun to see people right in our own backyard, but to also hear kind of who's furthest away in the world. So leave a comment and tell us where you're watching from. And then you also want to leave another comment to enter our awesome giveaway that we have going on. We're giving away a Cricut machine and $200 in materials. So if you just tuned in as well, if you share this video to your timeline or to a friend's timeline, then you'll be able to watch the whole thing from the very beginning to see these entire projects after we're done going live. So we'll have the whole recording posted up for you guys. All right, so I have my address numbers for one side, and then I have my cute chevron design for the other side with that kind of southwest flare. And I'm going to take everything out of my planter box. So on the inside, we're just using these nice floral foam from the craft store. This is kind of what it looks like at the beginning, and we've cut it into 4 pieces. So that's what's going to go inside. That's what we're going to stick our plants into. And the plants that we're using today are succulents, but they're fake succulents. Give me a thumbs up if you've got a green thumb, but give me a heart if you don't, because I've got what's called a black thumb. I can kill any plant, unfortunately, no matter how hard I try. So I really love succulents that are artificial because they have a great look. They look like real succulents, but they're super easy to take care of. You just have to dust them every once in a while. All right, so this carrier sheet is just a little bit sticky, which is nice. It helps your project stay in place. So I'm just applying that to the side of this planter that we got at the craft store. I'm gonna smooth it down, and you could use this on any project. Leave a comment and tell me what project you would like to make or what type of planter you would rather put on your porch. So that's stuck down, and I'm going to use this press cloth. It's actually just a bandana. You can also use a piece from an old cotton t-shirt or a pillowcase, and I'm going to place that down on top. And then I have heated my iron to a medium-high setting for this material. I don't want it to be so high that it melts this iron on like crazy, but I do want it to be hot enough that it'll activate that adhesive. So that's where your instructions come in, is each type of iron-on. Iron-on, just like vinyl, comes in a few different varieties. There's tons to choose from Cricut, but their exact settings can be found inside the packaging. So you notice that I'm holding the iron in one spot so that it can get heated up, and then I'm actually applying a little bit of pressure. I'm kind of pushing down. Then once it's nice and warm, I give it a little bit of a wiggle to make sure that adhesive gets down inside the fibers. And then I'm going to move on to the next part. Now, one thing to be aware of is every iron is a little bit different, and the heat can be a little inconsistent. So your iron might have a big hot spot right here. That's pretty common, and be a little bit cooler at the tip or the base. So you want to make sure that you're using the whole surface of your iron to account for that. And I even will usually go over my projects a few different times. So press and hold, wiggle, 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 and then let's check it out. So you're gonna lift this up. I like to keep my Cricut spatula handy. So for the winner or for anyone else who's thinking about getting a Cricut, the essential tool set can be found again at your craft store or on our website. And it has all these awesome tools I've been using that really help you put those perfect touches on your projects and get that best result every time. So because this is warm from the iron, I want to protect my fingers, and I'm actually going to smooth it down with the spatula. So once it's cool enough to touch, we can peel this back and see it's stuck down. If it wasn't stuck yet, then we would just put it back and go over it again with the iron. So just like with the vinyl, I'm going to give it kind of a rocking technique. And check that out, you guys. Isn't that gorgeous? For any of you who've ever tried vinyl on wood, it's not that easy. It does not stay on the wood quite that well. Even using a stencil made out of vinyl, that's another technique that I love. But it can be tricky to make sure that the paint doesn't bleed out underneath your stencil. So I love the beautiful crisp lines that the iron-on gives you. So let's do those address numbers on the other side. Let's take that vote again too. Give me a thumbs up if you're an eyeballer like me, and a heart if you're a measurements kind of person. So we're gonna stick this down. Perfect. Press cloth. I wonder too, leave a comment you guys and tell me what's your favorite material to use for a press cloth. I have to say I have a cotton pillowcase that just is my absolute favorite. Bandanas are a close second. They work really, really well. And don't forget too, if you missed the beginning of this video, just hit share. You can share it onto your own timeline. You can subscribe to notifications for when Hometalk goes live. And you can also share it on a friend's timeline, somebody that you know who loves making DIY projects or who might want this for their house. And that way you'll be able to easily access the entire recording after the video is finished. All right, so press and hold. This part's tough for me. You gotta be patient with this. Wiggle, wiggle, and then you move on to the next piece. I love it. Any questions out there, you guys? I hope everybody's having a fun time watching along. This has been really fun. We love working with Hometalk. Again, I'm Melissa from Cricut. We love doing these Facebook Live videos and teaching you how to make all different kinds of projects. You can leave a comment too with any questions that you have about these projects or other projects you're wondering if you can do. In fact, we'd love to hear what projects you'd like to learn about next. What would you like to see us make? Because we are up for anything. All right, so I'm going to set this press cloth down. And I can use my scraper tool, my spatula, to make sure it's pressed into the fibers. This looks good, you guys. I'm going to wiggle it back and forth. Oops, see, look, I've got a piece that's not quite stuck down. Too impatient. So all I have to do, and this goes for an older project too, if you have like a t-shirt and the piece starts to peel off a little bit, maybe you were hasty when you were applying it, you can actually use your iron after the fact to press that piece down. So we're going to make sure we get that on there. We're getting super close to picking the winner too, you guys, so make sure you get those entries in. Leave us your comments. We want to hear all about DIY projects that you've done, DIY projects that you want to do, and ways that you're improving the curb appeal for your home. I think that's such a fun term too, curb appeal. We hear it a lot from like realtors, you know, if you're selling your home, it's so important to have curb appeal. But I don't want to be that person in the neighborhood that has an ugly house nobody likes to look at. I hope I'm not alone in that. I'd rather be the house people are jealous of. Like, wow, somebody with good taste and creative DIY skills lives in that house. That's the house you want to be in, right, guys? I hope I'm not alone. All right, that should be good. Okay, so one more time. See, if you see here, it's actually started to bubble just a tiny little bit. That's a great sign. That's how you know that it's starting to separate away from your material. You don't want it to bubble a ton because then you'll have melted it like crazy, which isn't great. But we're going to smooth it down. Looking good. This font, by the way, you guys, this font is called Carly with a K. It's one of our Cricut Access fonts. So we have a subscription that's available where you get access to tens of thousands and thousands and like, you guys, so many images and fonts and projects and things. And this is one of my absolute favorite fonts. Again, it's called Carly. All right, so there we go. I'm going to give this one more hit with the iron. So now that we've removed that carrier sheet, one last time we're going to heat it up and go straight across. Perfect, and that'll seal it in. So this iron-on has really soaked into the fibers of that wood, but we don't have any bleeding like we would with a stencil, which I like. I like those beautiful professional results. So while it's still warm too, I'm using this stencil to make sure that it's really applied nicely into the wood. And get that thread out of there. And there we go. So if we have time, I'll actually show you just a little quick tip about floral arranging, how we're getting those succulents into this planter. So again, if you missed the first part of the video, we made these beautiful monogrammed lanterns with the Cricut adhesive foil, and then we made this planter with the Cricut iron-on, one of my personal favorite materials. So now that we've created our planter, we want to decorate and arrange it with our favorite faux succulents. So let me move this transfer tape, and we're going to come over here to this side of the table. We have taken this floral foam from the craft store. There's actually two different kinds. So the denser kind of foam that has a really smooth finish, not this one, is meant for real flowers. It soaks up water. This foam is not as messy as that kind, so if you're using fake flowers, this is my preference. And if you look, it has lots of air bubbles in it. It's like your kitchen sponge. So we've taken one piece, and this is super, super affordable, you guys. It's like a couple bucks for this piece of foam. And we've actually cut it into 4 separate pieces. So the best way to do that, you can use a fancy foam cutting tool, which is heated, or what I actually did is I have an old bread knife from a past life of kitchen tools that I actually used the serrated blade to just cut this into 4 pieces. So we're going to put one piece into each compartment, just like so. And then these faux succulents actually came in a bouquet from the craft store, so there were several in one. We just used a pair of pliers that had a wire cutter to snip them off. Make sure you leave 2 to 3 inches of stem so you have some room to push it down into the foam. And then some of these have wire inside. This particular one did not, but if it does have wire, you can actually strip off some of the outer portion of the plastic and things to make it really easy to get down into the foam. So all you need to do, and I'll take this out of the planter so it's easier for you to see, you just take that and you're going to push it down in, straight into the foam. So now it'll stand up straight and it'll poke up above the top of the planter. So we're going to do one for each piece of this planter. We'll just set that there for now. What do you think, you guys? Give me a heart if we should do this one with the pink on the flowers. And let's do a surprise face. We've done a lot of thumbs up. Let's do a surprise face if you want another one of these with the purple tinge. So you guys put in your votes for those, and I'm going to do one with these longer branches. So we're just going to push that in. See, this has a shorter stem. That's kind of how the bouquet was. So you just push it in.
And while Melissa's doing that, just make sure that you comment and let us know what you have done this summer for your curb appeal to win a Cricut and $200 in materials.
Guys, that's a dreamy prize pack. And you know what? It doesn't even have to be a Cricut project either. If you have done a landscaping project to improve your curb appeal or anything like that, we want to hear those too. Those are also important. So we've got one tall one here, a big one over here. It looks like from the votes, I think we're going to do these ones. We can balance it out with that other piece. So I'm going to stick them in kind of at an angle, just like so. We'll put that in this corner. And then for all of our other voters, I'm going to use this pretty kind of reddish pink tinged one on this piece as well. Just going to push that in. And then you can also stick them on the side if you want. So I know it seems a little intimidating to do your own floral arranging, and you see, you know, their pre-made floral arrangements are so expensive. But it's really fun. It's actually really, really easy, you guys. So don't be scared. And let's take this last one. I hate to see a succulent go to waste. You got to use them up, right? And we're going to add it to this right here. Perfect. So the finishing touch, if you look at this planter, it looks great on the outside. It looks great on the top. But if you zoom in close, you can see the foam. And that's not really what we're going for. We want this to be perfect. So what we're going to do is we have gotten this moss also from the craft store, and it's actually preserved, so it's not, you know, you're not just gonna go take moss off of a tree in the forest. This is specially made to be able to last. And you just pull it apart, and we're gonna stick it around the sides of the foam so that it stays centered in the compartment. And then we're gonna also, I hope you guys can see, we're gonna put it over the top and kind of in between the succulents so that as you peek in, it's a nice polished look with none of that foam showing around the edges. And this comes in all different shades of green. We've got a nice warm green that we're using today, but there's kind of more bluish moss available and gray and all different types. So we're gonna stick that in there. See, guys? It's pretty unbelievable how easy this was from start to finish. This would be so great for, you know, anyone who has a new home, or if you have a home that you've lived in for a while and you want to add an extra update for your curb appeal. This is a great project for that. Of course, it's great for anybody who's trying to sell a home. This would also make a great housewarming gift to bring to a housewarming party for friends who just moved into a new place. I see my friend Lauren, who's running the camera, has big wide eyes that says, yes, I just moved into a new place. Please make me this.
It's true.
Alrighty, guys. So look, check it out. Super, super simple. If you have a bigger space where the moss is really visible too, you can also use like long staples or toothpicks to poke into the moss and into that foam to really hold it in place. But this planter is pretty self-contained, so I'm not going to worry about that. And there you have it. So last chance, you guys, for anybody who's just tuning in or who's been hanging back in the comments, we're about to pick a winner. So leave a comment. Tell us what DIY project you're doing this summer or you already did this summer to add curb appeal to your place. Make sure you share this video on your timeline or a friend's timeline so that you can come back and watch the whole thing later. And make sure you subscribe to get videos whenever Hometalk goes live. They have all kinds of incredible, amazing projects all the time. And if you want, you can hop over and see Cricut's page too. I'm on there a couple times a month with fun new ideas and tips and tricks. So are we ready to pick a winner?
Yep, we've got one.
Cross your fingers. Casey Billick, congratulations, you're our winner. So
she just moved into her new home. Her DIY was that she did a welcome sign.
awesome. So Casey just moved into her new home, if any of you couldn't hear, and her DIY to add the curb appeal was making a welcome sign. So welcome to the world of Cricut, Casey, congratulations. And we actually have a surprise for everyone else who entered and who watches this video. We have a very special promo code going on Cricut.com through tomorrow evening, and it's valid, I think, for what, 20% off all consumable supplies. So that's a bargain, you guys. You can get any of the supplies that we use today, any of the iron-on, the vinyl. We have cardstock, we have pens. There are so many incredible projects you can make with your Cricut machine. And now's your chance to get 20% off of any of those supplies at all. So you're going to use promo code Hometalk, and again, that promo code is valid through tomorrow night. So make sure you hop on over and give it a check it out. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Go ahead and leave any other comments that you have. Tell us what project you'd like to see next, and we will see you soon. Thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. Bye.